Yo, and welcome back to another episode of Fire. Today we're going to be making something a bit more healthy, or something a bit more wholesome, something quite easy to make too. You don't actually have to do too much for this. It's like an alternative to ice cream, and everybody loves ice cream. It's actually a parfait. And you've heard it from the best, the one and only.
You know what else everybody like? Parfait. Have you ever met a person you say, hey, let's get some parfait? They say, hell no, I don't like no parfaits. Parfaits are delicious. No!
So today we're going to be making a honey yogurt parfait with a salted caramel praline. So let me show you how it's done. As for ingredients, we're going to need 400 grams of sugar, some egg whites, which I actually had left over, some light cream, and some yogurt. We also need some honey as well. First of all, we want to get a baking tray and our macadamia nuts. I had around 200 grams of macadamia nuts. So then you chuck in the macadamia nuts into the oven, about 180 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes until golden brown. So as for this step, we're going to be making the sweetener for the parfait, which includes sugar, put honey and water in. And I actually forgot to press record on this scene, but you know, like, you don't really have to see me pour it in anyway. So what you want to do is heat it up and make sure it's all dissolved, all incorporated together. As for the cream, you want to whip up 3 egg whites. You gotta make sure it's nice and fluffy. I kind of skipped this step because I completely forgot, to be honest with you. And then you slowly pour in the sugar and honey mixture. And at this stage, you know, I thought, screw it. Yeah, this is taking too long to whisk it up. So I just got a beater, and you know, you gotta do its thing. Let it, you know, beat it up like MJ. And you just want to whip this all together until it forms almost like a meringue. You want to make sure it's nice and silky, as you'll see soon in a second. And then there it is. Look at that. I mean, that's nice and thick. You know, that's what you kind of want for a meringue as well. Nice and glossy. And that's seriously just egg whites and sugar. Like, I'm pretty amazed that egg whites and sugar actually make this. To me, it's just amazing. So next step, you want to whip up some cream as well, which I wanted to speed up the process, so I just used the beater. And then after that, you know, you don't want to whip it too much. You just want to just incorporate some air into it, and then you just pour it all in, and then you fold it into the parfait mixture. Well, the meringue, because it's not really a parfait quite yet. So once that's all folded in, you want to get your yogurt, and you want to throw it in as well. And of course, you're gonna have to fold it because you don't want to lose the air, or you don't want to get more air into it, or something like that. There's a science behind it, but yeah, I'm not too sure why. And then after it's all mixed in or folded in, just get some lemon or some lime and just squeeze it all in, and just fold in the mixture. Just make sure everything is consistently consistent, whatever that means. But it makes sense. And then after, well, I kind of burnt the macadamias a bit. I took a bit too far, but it was on the verge of burning. I mean, it's still kind of okay. And I kind of like that extra roasted kind of flavor that it brings to it. So now for the salted caramel praline, we're gonna get our sugar, our milk, and butter, and some vanilla extract as well. And of course salt, because you're going to want salted caramel. And salted caramel is one of my favorites when it comes to dessert, just because it's so, I actually don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's just salted sugar. Like, what the hell is that? You want to make sure it's all dissolved. I actually like the sugar when it's a bit more crunchy, especially with the nuts. Just gives it an extra, I wouldn't say punch, it gives it just extra texture, which is pretty fun to say. Extra texture. And then you want to pour in all the macadamia nuts, just to make sure, you want to make sure it's all coated as well. After the salted caramel is all set, you want to leave it to cool for maybe 10 minutes. You don't want it to be extremely too hot. In this case, or in my case, I left it for 10 minutes, and I think it was still a bit too warm. So this is what it looks like. Glad wraps, you don't really have to see that, but this is me trying to cut it on a mini cutting board. And this is also me trying to unwrap it very preciously. I don't know why, but sometimes you gotta do it because it's a nice present. You want to kind of keep the. Anyway, whatever. You cut it up, and then you just dish it out. And in this case, it didn't actually come out the way I wanted it to. I wanted the praline to be still attached to the parfait, but because I didn't take the salted caramel far enough, it didn't crystallize. It didn't solidify. It didn't harden. Yeah, I mean, it's almost as useless as Metapod. I gotta say that for now. I mean, it kind of just liquefied, and it just wasn't. It didn't come to my expectations, but it's still somewhat edible. I mean, to be honest, I didn't really care if it still stuck to it or not. It's still edible. And here, we're all about the flavor, and we're here about the food, not how it looks like. Okay. And that's pretty much it. And that's how we make honey yogurt parfait with salted caramel macadamia nuts. That's a mouthful, but so is this if you eat it.